Yes. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this new show, AAI Hot Seat. AAI is Atheist Alliance International, and I am glad to be here with you today. So, today we have an eminent speaker and a writer along with us to inaugurate this new session or the first session of this new program that we have planned. So, I welcome Ravichandran C onto this channel on behalf of the whole of Atheist Alliance International. I'm your host, Arif Hussain Theruvath. So I welcome you, sir, and all the viewers who have gathered here to listen to us. So welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah. So as you know, I gave a short intro regarding Ravichandran C on the description along with this video. But apart from that, I am from the same place where he is also from, that is Kerala. So though I came into this field or this arena of atheism and free thinking so much later, like maybe 1 or 2 years, or maybe 3 years, but I know Ravichandran C as one of the most prominent speakers here through his speech only that I came into this field or this arena. By listening to him, I got a lot of viewpoints regarding multiple things around us, especially regarding pseudoscience, the religions, and multiple other things. And there are some of his few books also, which we always talk about. So we will go on to all those things one by one. So first of all, I have a few questions to you, sir. So shall we go one by one?
Yes, one by
Okay.
one.
Yeah. So our time is very much limited here, just 1 hour. That's what we have planned here. And along with this, we might have some questions from the audience too. I had posted posted a Instagram story to get some of the questions from the audience, and we have some questions from them as well. So if time permits, we will go into that as well. So the first thing is Atheist Alliance International, and along with other people like you also say about atheism, and everywhere and anywhere that you speak about this free thinking and all such subjects, you always pinpoint atheism. So why you always talk about atheism, or why you call yourself as an atheist, not as a rationalist? Yeah.
When I say or when I call myself an atheist, I take the bull by horn, because there is no mincing of words there. It's a very straightforward approach. It is required, very much required in the current scenario in our society. 1 second. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
So it's very much required in our society, because most of the times we can see that the stance against pseudoscience, religion, obscurantism is very vague, in the sense that people do not take things as it should be. They are not really against things, but they evade and they avoid consistently. And the positions are too mild and soft, so that the other side doesn't feel the pressure or doesn't feel the pinch. That's what I feel. So when you say atheism, normally atheism, that's an opposition to the worldview actually prescribed by the religion and pseudoscience and etc. People like that. So this is a sheer opposition that is required. Then only you can have this mild and moderate positions in between, like a meat in a sandwich or something like that. So the middle position is possible only when you have to mark your position as clearly atheistic and against religion, and there is there is no, what I say, mincing of words, or there is no dilution as such. That's why I always take care to call myself an atheist rather than a rationalist or a rationalist. I have no objection to that word. I am very much in line with the content and spirit of the word. I am a rationalist, But at the same time, I have to mark myself as an atheist because it's need of the hour, especially in a society we live. I think these kind of demarcations are very much necessary, I think.
Okay, that makes good sense, I think. And apart from that, yeah, is it okay?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
You didn't
So,
hear anything?
Yeah, I can hear.
Okay.
Okay. So apart from this, when we talk about atheism, the people who are within this religion, they always complain about why you always criticize this religion. So, and even there are some particular religions that they won't like criticizing them. So how do you deal with them?
So actually, we do not criticize or oppose religion per se. What happens is we are actually asking people to develop a worldview or a kind of filter. Filter means there is something like a telescope with which you view the universe. So there are certain filters required for a modern man, a civilized man. So this filter asks for evidence, asks for the use of reason, asks for all kind of things related with the scientific methodology, rationalism, and all like that. So once you provide this filter to the people, or they change their thoughts in accordance with the method that we prescribe, normally what happens is religion will become a major suspect. So people began to question religion, and they began to question God, ghost, all kinds of these kind of creatures, which are actually the product of their imagination. Okay, so what we do is we are actually try to give, or try to not. I don't use the word we give, but ask people to create a filter for their worldview. With that filter, something like during eclipse, you look at sun with a filter, right? So all these harmful rays are obstructed there, and it's eliminated. That's why you can have a clear view, or at least have a view of the sun. Like the reality is also like that. So this filter is created by people, or especially those who want to use that way. I think that's what we do. That actually is something very much of a problem for religion, because religion cannot get through, or God cannot get through, and all kind of ghosts. These things won't. They cannot filter through this filter. So this filter is essentially something related to science, humanism, and sense of reason, and all like that. So that's why it's a filter thing rather than.
Okay. Is that aligning with scientific temper, or is it the same, or just one among the components of this filter?
Yeah, scientific temper is actually that's scientific temper, as we used to tell our public always. Every stage we say, but scientific temper and scientific knowledge are two different things. And scientific knowledge, you amass and you collect more and more knowledge from textbooks, from universities and college, and you are enriched by knowledge. But scientific temper is actually something related to the scientific way of thinking. Even with the limited knowledge, or even without schooling, you can be a person with a scientific temper. And once you have that, I think it will be easy for you to realize the facts and realities, and to assess this world or the universe the way you want. And you will be free also. Science and freedom is very much correlated, because science never care for people's individuals' wishes, their whims or fancies. Science is always concerned with the nature of facts, the content of facts, and the direction that it is automatically taken. So that's why, in a sense, we always have some powerful slogans like "Let evidence lead."
Yeah,
so
true.
The way evidence lead you, you have to take that way. So you cannot create evidence for you, or you should not say that I won't accept the evidence because I don't feel the same way. I feel different. Your feelings, your concerns, and your emotions are of little importance, and you have to take the evidence route. That's all about the scientific temper we mean.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty good explanation. I think any layman can catch it. Okay, so now going forward, I just wanted to know. I already told you that I'm a late entrant into this field of free thinking and atheism and all, but I know how much things have changed in this very short period, maybe in this 3-4 years. So for you being in this field more than I think for more than 7 or 10 years, just for this creation, awareness creation itself. Not I'm telling about your conversion or your evolution into this, but as a communicator, what is the change that you have experienced from the olden days and what you see now?
See, Arif, we always keep very, what I say, a kind of, what I say, a restraint when we talk about the change we were able to create in our society, because that restraint is mainly motivated by the reason that our society isn't actually undergone that kind of a heavy or what I say, a mammoth change is not there. But when compared to other states in India, Kerala is always, it's actually positioned between, what I say, rationalism and sheer obscurantism. It's a kind of middle path you could see in Kerala. But still, Kerala is a heavily religious-ridden society, dominated by religion in its politics and culture and art and literature. Every field you look at, it's dominated by one religion or another. So, so I don't say that it has undergone a heavy change or a big change to notice, but still, that's why I don't hesitate to brag on this particular thing. But I do not limit the kind of achievements or the kind of results we have over the last 1 decade that will be undermining it. I don't want to do that either. So I would say that there is a change. That's a change for good in any way. And that can be built upon, consolidated on later to have better results. And Kerala, I think the foundation is actually laid very strongly. And the atheistic movement, actually, those atheistic movements which call themselves atheist, that's a different term I would like to use. Yeah. Not camouflaging, not shielding, not evading, the nice boy image. Yeah. That's not there with us. You are also very
bloody atheist.
Bloody atheist. So, yeah. Bloody atheist or militant atheist, they say that we are militant about our militancy is all about the passion that we have for humanism and science. Nothing else. The more we do such things, I think it's better for society, ourselves, and our country also. Because once I said, not only me, I think so many rationalists like Sam Harris said, if you are a fundamentalist, I think people say that fundamentalism in any field is wrong. But in one speech, I don't recall the name, but I said there is that fundamentalism is wrong only when the fundamentals are wrong. Yeah, our fundamentals are pretty clear. We believe that all of us come from Africa. Our genealogy, the racial differences, and all those things, we make it more clear for the society to watch and understand. And we propagate humanism, we propagate science, and we also fight for equality, and we promote constitutional values which are good for the modern society. And in every way, we are more Puritan about that, or more stringent Puritan or extreme about these kind of fundamentals. I think it can do no harm to the society. So that's why I say our fundamentals are pretty clear, humanistic, scientific. So I think this fundamentalism or militant atheism or whatever you call, it's good for society. That's what that's my conviction.
Yeah, but isn't there a contradiction or a challenge that usually come up mostly from the vegans, that they say when we say that everything is based on humanism, humanism is something that is wrong or that is a kind of selfishness, and that fundamentally is not that much right. Have you encountered such an argument? And
So,
how would you
yeah, humanism is not wrong, and you could say that you need something much more than humanism. That's an argument you can logically put, but you cannot say that humanism is wrong since we are being human beings, and we are always, our reality itself. You take, we have a species reality. For example, you look at sky, and most of the times you see it as blue. But I don't think that so many creatures under sky can watch sky as blue. It can be a gray sky, or it can be a black sky, because they don't have the same number of color genes that we have. So everything we have is related to our reality. So we live in a species reality, and we have so many programs within our brain also. For example, when a chimp and a human being, the baby chimp and a baby human being in trouble, okay, you resort to the help of the human being simply because of the wiring that you have. So that is humanism, but it doesn't mean that you don't have to save the baby chimp. You have to, but your preference most of the times will be to save the human child. Nothing wrong with that, because we have our own limitations, physical, our hormonal, for example, genetic. That's quite justified. And we don't have to worry that much about being a human beings and humans first theory. And doesn't mean that you have to harm other creatures or environment. No way. We have to have care for other people and our environment and other creatures, of course. But we are humanists in the sense that we start with our love for other beings in our species, our care for other beings in our species. So from that, it's the beginning of our love and care for others.
that even helps or delay this climate change and even protect our earth? Isn't that it goes that way?
Yes, of course, because you have to start it from your own species. It's a new proverb, like a charity starts from home.
Okay, start from your own species now. A new proverb. Okay, so moving forward, now comes the major alignments with the politics and other things when it comes to the application of atheism or these kind of viewpoints in our society, especially in our country. As you have already stated that our society is greatly relying upon this religion and religious principles and the rules pertaining to that. And in that society that we are trying to propagate all these ideas, at that point, when there is a shift from this right wing or the left wing or any other wings that we usually say or we usually hear, how do you say that? How do you feel it, that how much it is affecting this the political atmosphere?
See, the left-wing politics, right-wing politics, or the middle path, whatever maybe say. I think these are labels. They do not constitute much in our modern politics. These are old differentiations or divisions, and things have changed a lot. For example, how did this right-left spectrum, or what? It's actually a spectrum. It originated historically. It's in the French National Assembly, where one section they sat by the right side of the king, and they were called the right wing because they supported the king, the royalty, the conservatives. That was it. And those who sat on the right and left side, they were against the king. So that's what happened. That was left and right for the king. It can be just opposite for the other person who was sitting in the crowd, actually, So how it changes. So from there it started, and now you have a checklist. Most probably you see a lot of checklists. This is right, this is left. But what I feel is that I don't want to be labeled as left or right or in between. I want it to be dictated by reason, fact, and evidence in politics also. So fact-based politics means, if the fact stands you, in your way, at you want to achieve a goal, but the facts are not supporting, you have to withdraw, or you have to terminate your journey there, because it's not assisted by facts, supported by facts. So you have no reason to do that. So that's the fact basis. And whatever claims you make, in politics, what happens is our politician tells a whole lot of lies. They lie unnecessarily, exorbitantly. They lie. I don't deny that sometimes they were forced to lie, or they have to, what in Malayalam we say adjustments and all like that. But so that can be understood. But they lie more than required. That's quite ludicrous, because you can survive with a minimum lies even in politics, I believe. So because of that, people don't take their words, and they don't believe, they don't trust. And the politicians also think that they don't have to tell a word of truth. Actually, they can keep on lying and lying, bragging, and see all kinds of extrapolations. And when they speak and when they do, I think they have almost a total divorce with the reality. So our politics require, I think, a super dose of reality check. That's why we stand for fact-based politics. And like the same way, to complete that, we stand for evidence-based medicine and humanism-based society. So we don't care for this left, right, or middle, be center, whatever may be. We simply say you need to be right. Whatever you do should be true, right, factual, and good for the society, based on humanism and based on evidence and based on results also. Your intention, as you say, is not enough. You claim that you are a very good person, very kind-hearted person. Your heart is bleeding for everybody. That's not enough. That's not enough. What is required is you have to prove that your thought, as it is claimed by you, is actually realized in real terms.
Okay. So now we have a question that is displayed on the screen that is from one of our viewers here. That is something related to atheism in a way. That when we speak about atheism, do you see that a world coming up where there is no religion? Just forget about India, whether we can take or talk about the whole of the world. How do you take it that way? Is the world going to be religion free?
It's most unlikely, because if they become free of religion, most of the times I think the people will reinvent religion, or they will have new religion with a new syllabus, because there is a tendency for human beings to be religious, because religion sometimes gives you a lot of the many pleasures. Like it's a kind of an intoxication for many. It's a kind of solace for many, because man is actually anti-real sometimes, because reality can really it can be very monotonous, and it can be very dull, drab, dreary thing for us. So we have this flight of fancy. And fiction is one thing, like a cinema, KGF, like things. It's one thing that give you a kind of an escape from the reality. And the religion is another. It gives a kind of awkward escapement from reality. The problem with the fiction and movies is that there is escape. A willing suspension of disbelief is also there. But you never take it for reality. It is not possible for reality. Because of that, you know that your theater life ends there, and you get out and you don't behave as if you are involved in the plot. But in religion, it's not like that. You think you are part of the plot, and you think that the dialogues are actually constructed for you, and it's a very dangerous thing. You can see that what is to be taken as fiction is possible for reality, and people behave on the basis of that. It's something like you're drunken with the nonsense, and this is posing problems.
Okay, so when you narrated this, I was just recollecting whether it is something like a prototype of this metaverse, where people try to be a part of that virtual reality. Is it something like that?
Yes,
a
yes.
prototype?
I always compare. I'm a teacher of literature, basically.
Yeah.
So because of that, we always compare fiction with religion.
Yeah.
The difference is that fiction, we know that fiction is fiction, and we consider fiction as fiction, even though there is sometimes there are, you crossing boundaries, like, for example, Arthur Conan Doyle's Sherlock Holmes, for example. When Sherlock Holmes was, he disappeared, or he was suspected to be killed in one of his work, there was a huge demand for his resurrection in the next novel, and it became so heavy and intolerable for the writer that he had to
Resurrect.
make him come back again. Yes, resurrect him. So that's why even you can say our serial, soap opera, television, and this can, crossing boundaries, but still, religion has no boundaries in that respect. It's no need to cross boundaries. It is like an ISIS thing. They don't respect boundaries. So imagination and reality, there is no difference. That's why they are flying this aircraft to World Trade Center. They don't see any difference actually between what is real and what is unreal.
Yeah. So I think that pretty clears that doubt whether there will be a world devoid of religion. I think that's very unlikely, as you stated, because it's a part of this human psychology. So now there's another question that came up here, that is something related to one of the monikers that you are always facing. That is something related to Savarkar. It's always called as Savarkar's atheism. When we speak about atheism, and when we speak about the atrocities committed by this religion, these people always come up with Savarkar. Savarkar too was an atheist. So how do you relate to this, or how do you find this statement?
See, you are talking about Savarkar, or Hindutva Savarkar, right?
Yeah, Hindutva Savarkar, yeah.
Yes. This Savarkar actually is totally unknown for Malayalis.
Yeah.
Maybe they heard. Even only the most read could decipher when somebody was called a Savarkarite, or belonging to that kind of thoughts. It was very marginal. I think even in our intellectual realms of in Kerala, people didn't actually know about it. Even I began to listen to this kind of a propaganda maybe in the late 90s or in the beginning of the century. But even then, I was not that clear about things. But the Savarkar thing became very prominent after 2010, or I think some movies or something like that. Okay. But until then, Savarkar was virtually a non-entity for Malayalis. Then Savarkar is an atheist. I checked. I didn't read much about Savarkar. But still, for the sake of these kind of questions, to counter these kind of questions, I have gone through literature of him and on him. Then I found that he was falling short, because he was not an atheist. He was rational in certain things, certain ideologies. For example, he was against this, veneration of cow. That he was not supporting that. But at the same time, he was. Everybody is selectively rational, and you cannot say that the people are a 10% superstitious in their life. No, they are not. They hold themselves to reason in many areas, but they are selectively superstitious, selectively blind, and selectively realistic. And in that respect, I could say Savarkar was rational in some areas, but he was never an atheist, because he used to write songs in praise of goddess Jagadamba, and he used to pray, he used to conduct pujas, and even his theory of Hindutva is actually it's quite unatheistic, because an atheism doesn't promote this kind of conservative, the craze for heredity, for the glorious past, and
that racial purity.
For example, purity, racial purity, and this oneness in everything. We only we promote oneness at the species level, but all other political ideologies, they promote oneness very much below that species level. They have maybe people of a panchayat, people of a country, people of one caste, people of one religion. This is divisive as far as we are concerned. Our oneness is all about human species. We are one, and we are coming from, our roots are actually in Africa. So that's why. So Savarkar is an atheist, I think, in my book, is never. And was he rational? He was rational in certain areas. That's what I can say.
So again, that proves why it is required that one should call oneself as a bloody atheist. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, to embrace all these values, especially this humanism. So Savarkar was not following humanism in any way. He was just following certain rules like this racial purity and such things. So he was falling short of that, right? I think that makes it clear. And now, before we have completed half of our agreed time, so now some of your works that even I mentioned two of them, that is Nastikanaya Daivam and Budhane Erinja Kallu. I remember this Budhane Erinja Kallu because this was the first book that you gifted me when I came to your place for an interview.
Really?
Regarding, for that homeopathy.
When before COVID, right?
Yeah, no, just before the lockdown, I remember. So something closer to that. Yeah. Okay, maybe.
Yes.
So, yeah, that something related to this Arsenicum album that we did an interview.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, so even last day, another person, she was talking about this book, how this led her from this Sanatan Dharma outside. So could you please give us an intro about your nature of your works and a little more deeper into these two works, especially Budhane Erinja Kallu and this Nastikanaya Daivam.
My writing career. I think I didn't write any. I didn't publish any book for the last 6 years. I may say that because the essence is actually stealing my time. That's one reason. But before that, I could say that I wrote around 15 books, and most of them are published by DC Books. They are it's one of the I think the top publishing house in Asia, at least in India. I'm sure about that. So my books are actually yes.
Yeah, and all of them are in Malayalam, right?
All of them are in Malayalam. Yes, all of them are in Malayalam. And my books are related to a spectrum of topic like astrology, Vastu, then Ramasetu, then evolution, Gita, then atheism and its different shades and the problems. So many issues are related to that. So then also some social issues. Then something related to organic farming, homeopathy, then so many areas. 15 books I wrote, and some of them are actually, I think, widely circulated. Most of the time, I could say that among people who prefer this scientific thinking and rationalism, I don't think that the books did really reach the general public as I would like. But still, this Budhane Erinja Kallu and Nastikanaya Daivam. Nastikanaya Daivam means God is an atheist. That's what we say. So he doesn't approve of any god. He doesn't like puja. He doesn't pray. So he doesn't do anything. A believer do. So now he lead the life of an atheist. That's why atheist God. God is an atheist. Just it's a fantasy. It's a fictional thing, just for the curiosity related with putting a title. That's only. So I'm from the literature background, so I always create such titles. So that book, I think it's in its 12th edition, and I think it's pretty remarkable to see that a book. Such a big book is circulated in the mainstream, and every year it is having a reprint. But my most read book and most circulated book may be Budhane Erinja Kallu. Because that's a stone with which Buddha throned. That is why the stone. It was Gita was a stone thrown 3 at the what I say, the Hindu priesthood. They are the Brahmins per se. They had a set of theories related to life after life, and even the Chaturvarnya system, the social structure and everything. They have a set of theories, and this set of theories was opposed by Buddha in some respect. Not in I say that in every respect, because Buddha was actually yielding and even consenting to many ideas, even in Hinduism. But its fabric or its very orientation is against Buddhism. And that's why I call it is a stone thrown at Buddha. And I think it's a book most sold in when you take a number of copies, maybe Budhane Erinja Kallu, but still.
So I found it very much relevant to this time as well, because now we are talking about this right-wing politics and how the Sanatan Dharma is getting so much attention. One party trying to defend it and another party trying to annihilate it, and such debates are going on. But since this book is in Malayalam, are you planning to come up with an English translation or in any other language?
So actually, my Budhane Erinja Kallu was actually under translation by one of my colleagues in Women's College Trivandrum. She was very much interested in that book, and she started the translation in 2019 itself, I think. And I don't know what is the condition of the translation now. I need to ask her. She's also an associate professor of English. And I need to ask her. And then when you just asked that question, it ignited my curiosity also.
Yeah, because it's very much required, especially. Also, I would like to know a little more in detail about this Budhane Erinja Kallu and the mentionings in it, and with regards to how the Sanatan Dharma is posing as a problem in this society. How would you comment on that?
Sanatana Dharma or Sanatana is actually it's very weak, and it's not a transparent idea actually. What is Sanatana? So there are different, and if you read literature related to Sanatana, you will be confused. What the hell or what the Dutch, one can say that, because see, it's so complicated. Means it's a verbal jugglery and no borders and boundaries of imagination and intellectual ping pong, you could see. One thing, what is Sanatana? Sanatana is actually the old name for Hindu religion, in the sense that there is no Hindu religion. The British, they made Hindu religion in every sense. And before that, we have Sanatana Dharma or Sanatana religion, because it's a chain of caste, we can say. And it was not properly, we could never call it a religion in the Semitic sense, like a book. No, there are many books, many prophets, or many pandits, scholars. The Dvaidam is there, Advaidam is there. Oh, Visishta Advaidam is there. It cannot be, everything is there. So it's something like it's something like a Pan-American, we can say that, like all things, like a pandemonium. That's the right word for that. So Sanatana Dharma is, it was called by the upper class of this upper class caste people. That's what you can say, because those who are below, they didn't have much to do with the literature, because they didn't have much of a place there. And it's an ideology of Sanatan. It's one. I give you one interpretation. Sanatan means Parameshwar, the Almighty. The Almighty has given some values, ideas, principles for human beings to conduct their life. So these are apaurusheyam, in the sense that it was not created by any human being. It's coming from above, like something like a revelation from God through some medium, like you can say that. So this is Sanatan. Sanatan is actually Almighty Parameshwar, or the Almighty God, and he has come up with some certain value systems and all like that. So this cannot be changed. It's immortal, eternal. It doesn't have a beginning. It doesn't have an end, they say. So this is all about the system. So you can incorporate everything into this system, this folder, like for example, caste system, Chadurvarnyam Maya Srishtam, Guna Karma Vibhagasya. That is what's said in Bible, not Bible, in Gita. And that means the God, the so-called God Krishna, and he declares that this Chadurvarnyam was, it has my signature under it. Okay, I made this for Varna, Kshatriya, Brahman, Vaishya, and Shudra. Okay, on the basis of what? On the basis of Guna, Karma, Vibhagasya. Guna means the quality you have. Karma means your actions. And he doesn't say, the Sanatana people normally say, the Krishna never says, you are placed on the basis of your birth. Where you are born to someone because of that. No. Your guna, your quality, and your actions, your deeds. Then there is a trick there, because when you are looking at these words, we say that there is no emphasis on your birth. You can be born anywhere, and if your words are good, your deeds are good, your quality is good, you can be a Brahmin or you can be an elevated soul. This is the impression you get. But the trick is there in that sloga itself. Guna Karma Vibhagasya. That means, first word is Guna. What is Guna? Guna means the essence of your personality or your quality. And this very Gita says that the Guna is actually an output of your Swabhava. So bhava means your own bhava. And that comes from your birth. Your swabhava that you acquire from your birth, and your guna was dictated by your swabhava, then that means is indirectly your birth. Yes, okay. That's why you cannot change it actually. And they also say that Sanatana is eternal. Eternal means that you cannot change it. And for example, they always say that people acquire Brahmanhood, or they become elevated by their deeds. Like they cite, for example, Parashurama. Parashurama was actually a Brahmin, and he taught Karna he is a guru of Karna also, archery and everything. He taught, and he was actually after the Kshatriyas. He killed thousands or millions, whatever maybe, Kshatriyas. And he was very revengeful against the Kshatriyas. And Brahmana is normally, he is not supposed to kill or to attack or to annihilate people, but he killed so many Kshatriyas. But he was a Brahmin, okay? And he was a guru of Karna and all like that, there are a lot of stories. Then another one is Vishwamitra, Maharshi. He became a Rajarshi, and he is an expert in all these kind of tapas, everything normally done by the Brahmins. He became a quality or a super Brahmin in his deeds. But the problem is that nobody ever called Parashurama a Kshatriya after killing so many people. They only said that he was a Brahmin, lived like a Kshatriya. Or the Vishwamitra was a Kshatriya and lived like a Brahmin in the end. They never called that he actually convert. Conversion is impossible. That is it. So that's why in Sanatana Dharma, normally we can say that the Varna, Ashramam, then Purushartham, then Chadurvarnyam. These are the four things. Then all these things comes from one thing. What is it? Their belief in soul, Atma. Then you believe in Atma, you believe in Mujjanma. That means the previous birth. Why we are talking to each other now? Because of our deeds, on the basis of the merits of the deeds and words we committed in the previous birth. When our life, the SIM card was in another person. That person misused this SIM card and made some calls to the terrorist centers in Syria. And because of that, we are suffering. So you understand the point? It's a SIM exchange. The SIM is with me now, and the SIM will be taken and it will be passed to another person or another creature. So this is the SIM is the only reality. It is anadi, and it cannot be killed, it cannot be cut, it cannot get wet, it cannot be burned, it cannot be it cannot be destroyed. Indestructible SIM. They believe in this indestructible SIM, and this SIM is a reason why you are a Shudra, or you are a labor, belong to labor class, or you are subservient in this birth because of the sin that you carry, has committed some activities, nefarious activities in the previous birth. Because of that, what you have to do, you have to accept it as your vidhi, or your fate.
Fate.
It is your fate. And because you are suffering this pain and trauma and torture of this birth, and you actually clear the arrears. Okay, you clear the arrears and you become pure, and you are in the path of achieving moksha, salvation. So whatever you suffer, whatever the trauma that you have in this birth, don't object, don't hesitate, don't argue. That's why we don't have any rebellion in India like in Greek. In Greek literature, you can see Spartacus, the fight by the slaves, and the slaves fighting back. But in India, in this Sanatana Dharma, you have no reason to fight back, because the torturer is torturing you because of your previous birth. He become a torturer because of his previous birth, and you are tortured because of your previous birth. So
that is
you
understood
don't
both the point.
you don't have to collide, because you are all conducted by the strings of fate, and you are traveling towards salvation. So this is a very destructive idea.
They mutually agree that.
You cannot have any social change. The downtrodden people cannot raise voice, because they have to accept their fate. They have to accept their life as it is. So this is Sanatana Dharma. This is eternal. So eternity of what? Eternity of soul. Eternity of that indestructible sim. That is, I satirically said like that.
And the most funniest part is that the sufferer and the what do you say, the perpetrator of the suffering, the tormentor, both of them agree to these things, believing in the soul and fate, and they mutually enjoy, or kind of they live in it. Isn't that happening? And in spite of all this, we see a lot of people trying to say that this is something called something beautiful. Sanatana Dharma supports people, respects people, and even they always make a claim that even Sanatana Dharma promotes atheism. We had Charvakans in Hinduism, or this Sanatana Dharma. Can you please have something about them? Charvakans.
Absolutely wrong. Absolutely wrong. Charvaka, what they say? They say no Atma, no Paramatma, no Paraloga, no previous birth, no afterlife. How can you include these people in Sanatana Dharma? You could say that there are people who used to oppose to this world view.
But they are telling that
they were more militant than us in their atheistic pursuits.
Okay.
They ask some questions like, now one question, Arif, I would like to recall. They ask, if you cut the throat of a cow in a yaga to please the heavenly people, if you believe in that, why don't you cut the throat of your father and send him directly to heavens? Because they believed that the animal which is sacrificed will have a direct entry to heavens. Okay, then they can very easily kill their parents when they are pretty old, and they don't have to conduct any costly pujas. Just cut their throat and sacrifice them, so that they will achieve heaven, right? Very, very, very militant question, right?
Yeah. Along with that, they usually claim that Charvakans were so much welcomed in Sanatana Dharma. So they were never tormented. They were never chosen down, and any kind of activities against them. Are you sure about that?
No. There are references. There were people, but one is there is not much of Charvaka literature left. And most of the literature of Charvaka that we see today is actually the arguments cited by the Hindu preachers or the scholars and writers as Purva Paksha. Purva Paksha means you select certain words from, something like cherry picking words and slogas
from
apologetic
activity.
You're collecting some from their reservoir, and you're parading. These are the things what they said, and look, this is not good. This is untenable. This is illogical. So you are actually. It's at your will and your convenience. You are selecting certain words and slogans from your opponent's book. Not completely. It's a cherry picking. And all we have is the cherry picked literature selected by the dominant side, that is the religious side. The tormentor side, or the Pandits, the Brahmins. They selected. That is what even that literature is actually sharp enough to give an impression that there were more to Charvaga thought. But one more thing I would like to refer to is not only the destruction of their literature, their legacy, their memory. That's not the main thing. The second one, that's the main thing. The second one is that in literature you could see Charvaga is even in Mahabharata. There is the last scene not last scene, after the war. Dharmaputra, that is Yudhishthira, acquire throne, and he is the emperor. So at this stage, and he is actually he's crowned. The people around him, the Brahmins and the preachers and the Pandits and everybody, they praise him to heavens. And one Brahmin who comes and say that, look, how can you be so can say proud about this victory? Now, this is something that you achieved through treachery and the meanness, cruelty, and you told a lot of lies. And the stalwarts in Kauravas like Karna, Drona, Bhishma, and all these people were killed in treachery. You are telling lies, or it's not. Dharma was not kept there, observed there. So because of that, you have no right, because you are Dharma Putra. And this is something that you achieved through you're telling lies and doing all those things that are not acceptable for a person who observes Dharma. So this is shame on you, Yudhishthira or Dharmaputra, he said. And what happens there, Mahabharata reports that this person was burned alive. He was a Charvaga. He was a Brahmin in some respect. Some people say he was a Brahmin, but some say he was a Charvaga. And when airing the ideas, raising the voice and protesting, this person is burned alive. That is the story we get from Mahabharata. So when these people say that the Charvaga, they were entertained, they were accommodated, and I don't see any reason to believe so.
Yeah. So that's a blatant lie that Charvakas were welcomed in Sanatan Dharma.
Where are they now? Where are they now? They are so welcome.
Yeah, true. And apart from that, when you mentioned about Sanatan Dharma, you were also mentioning about this karma siddhanta, or that karma principles. So I got a question today on this Instagram. That's something regarding this karma. Even the rationalists and other people also, they are seen accepting this principle of karma, that you get something back in return to what you have done already. So how do you comment to that?
It's a part of that story is true, because you eat something, what happens? Okay, there is a result for that. Okay, then the Newton's law, third law of motion. You can see so many areas. You could see there could be a rebound. There could be a bounce back. There could be an echo or a reverberation for things happen. That's partially right in some cases. For example, you're throwing a ball at a wall, it will come back and it will hurt you, maybe. That's right. Apart from that, your experiences in your life, your encounters, I don't think that it will have a repayment package. I don't think so, because sometimes it may, or sometimes it may not. For example, you love a person very deeply, convincingly deeply, but that person, it's not reciprocated. And don't can you ever imagine that that person will once understand your love and will come back to you? You can only dream about that, or you can only fantasize your chances, but it may not come true. It may or may not. So in every sense, for example, the rich people, they become very rich. As we say, they do a lot of things, but they get richer and richer. That's how things goes. And the poor people, they become poorer and poorer. So I don't see there is any change in their condition. They do good things. Some people get away with doing bad things. They become, sometimes get insulated. For I would give you a simple example for that. You take the case of Amritanandamayi. Amritanandamayi was actually cheating people. She was fooling people. And I don't find fault with her, because she was fooling. You can only fool fools. You cannot fool sensible people. And there were a lot of, irregularities and crimes reported.
Financial frauds.
But finally, what is it? And if you believe in karma theory, you have to expect that she will be punished for all those things she did. Okay? Can you expect the same now? All these things, nefarious things, so the so-called crimes and irregularities, scams and cruelties, and the way she fooled people, do you or can you expect that she will be punished or held accountable for that now? It's unlikely, most unlikely. She is, I think it's very difficult, because she has consolidated her position, entrenched. That's what we see in war terminology. We can say the position is almost entrenched. She is even able to convince the prime minister of the country, the president of the country, and the intelligentsia, the film stars like Mohanlal, so many. So I don't think that she will be punished or held accountable for all the nefarious and inhuman crimes and all those things she committed. And if karma theory is right, there should be a trial and punishment. I don't see. Do you see?
No. What I say is that it's all about the perception that when something happens to us, we instead of realizing that as an outcome of the complex interactions between us and the society, people always think that it is something that is divine, something that has an intervention from the divine sphere. That's what they perceive, and that's the area where the people go wrong. Believing in all these karma principles. That's what I always think about it. Anyways, I think that makes it clear. Some of the people are responding to our speech here, that some questions are there. We'll just quickly go into that. One question is here. It's displayed here. We are seeing a section of academics pushing for studying of Vedas in IITs. How harmful it can be for India and its scientific and economic progress. Any comments?
Very much, because it's very harmful, and it can, I think, debilitate the modern society. Because I don't say that the Vedas are all bad and all wrong. You cannot have 100% wrong and bad things in our life, because it's all human made. Human cannot be that bad, 100%. There's no perfection in even being bad or wrong. So second one is that it's a world view of a group of people who lived thousands of years back, or at least hundreds of years back, and maybe 1,500 years back. And their world view is applicable only then. For example, what is wrong with the religion is that it fossilizes values, knowledge, and everything related to human pursuit. This is a fossilization. Religion is a kind of cultural and intellectual and emotional fossilization. And that process is not good, because we are actually a moving train. We are dynamic. And every day, every second, we get into a different zone. And even our Earth, for example, it never travels through the same spot in space more than once. Once you can never, because it's an expanding universe we live in. And it's all dynamic, all changes. And because of that, you cannot have any sanadana thing there. Things that never undergo change. You cannot have. Even human beings would not have been possible if the sanadana was is a fundamental law in this nature. Because there was no there were no human beings. If you go back in the history of evolution 2 lakh years or 2 million years back, there is no human being. If it was Sanatana was the rule of the universe, there would not have been any evolution into human beings, because it's a dynamic thing. And like Vedas, I think it's a past time. You can read it as something happened in the past. Okay, there's no problem. But you try to apply it in the modern life as we live, as we have, I think it is quite ridiculous, I would say.
And it has to be opposed at any means, by any means.
Yes.
Yeah. So now, just before closing, a few words about the brand called Essence and the biggest atheist event that is coming up on 1st of October, Litmus 23, and the future plans that you envision for our society here.
I'm happy you asked that question. Essence is actually it's a free thinkers conglomerate, or it's a group of people, maybe hundreds of people, active participants. Then we conduct seminars, then science promotion program, and programs based on atheism, science, and throughout Kerala, in Bangalore, and even in some other countries like Australia, Ireland.
You had one in Canada recently.
In Canada, and most of the English-speaking nations, we have some units. Most of them are Malayalis, and they have they conduct programs there. In Kerala, from 2018 onwards, we conduct an annual program called Litmus. It's attended by thousands of people. And Arif, you also remember that you are also a participant in the last 3 editions. I mean, last 2 editions, and you were also scheduled to speak in the next one. I mean, it's on October 1, 2023, October 1. That means for 4 days. After 4 days, it will be staged in Thiruvananthapuram. It's the capital of Kerala, in Nishagandhi Auditorium. And we expect thousands of people, I think, if not 10,000, I'd say. It is the largest atheist meet, without doubt, I can say. And even the online registration is going on. We have almost reached 3,100 online registration for this meet, even 5 days to go. I think it's a very exciting proposition. And especially in a society which is actually run by religion, even our politics is too, I think, hopelessly religious. And most of the bills and orders and everything is actually dictated. Even tomorrow is a holiday. I think it was converted to it was transferred to another day, because some religious leaders wrote letters to the ruler, not the other way around. I think Kerala is hopeless. People outside Kerala will think that people are very rational. They are they are as hopeless as the people
enlightened Keralites. That's how they call
it. Yes, that's a lie. That's a lie, and that's a superstition that we are enlightened, and others are not. We are enlightened as other people in other states also. Since there is some difference, and people sometimes, one point I would like to conclude, they refer to Marxism experiment to this, what is called the Enlightenment. No way. Marxism is as superstitious as any other religion. It's unscientific, and it's also promote violence. Most of the religions, many religions, is fourth religion, and the worst one also, because the problem is that they preach bad economics, and that is something that is quite make our life very difficult. Other religions, they ban, for example, interest. They don't like interest, in Islam or in Christianity. In principle, they are against interest. But in communism, it's actually doing the same. But at the same time, they have theories about a world without knowing, even dazzling disregard for the fundamentals of economics. I think it's of total devastation in our society. And Litmus is it's 5 days. Just away, 5 days, 4 days away.
4 days,
and we are going to conduct perhaps the best ever litmus this time. And we have some debates and three debates. One debate is related to Hindutva, and other debate is on the liberal, new liberalism in economics, especially economic theories, economic liberalism. Is good or bad, something like that. Then one on uniform civil code. Is it necessary? Kerala is the first state, they claim. They are not the first state, indeed, actually. They are the first state to pass a unanimous motion against the uniform civil code, even before its draft is out. Such is the kind of enthusiasm we have. This our politics is so communal that we in our assembly pass laws and motions against things to be born. Even they don't care about what is the content, but still they pass laws. So in that respect, we stand for fact-based politics and free thought, atheism, and humanism here, and all are welcome to Litmus.
Even I'm a part of that with a debate kind of thing with another Islamic preacher, and the subject is about Islamophobia. Islamophobia and otherization and Islamophobia. That's the title. And when you mentioned that the politics in our country, especially in Kerala, it is hopeless. What's your future plan?
Hopelessly communal. Okay.
Hopelessly communal. Yeah. Okay. So, in your future plan, is there any chance, any minor chance that all these free thinking and all these atheistic movements be taken, or a way by which it could be linked to this politics?
Free thinking, I don't see 140 MLAs in a member of Legislative Assembly in Kerala. I don't see a single MLA can be invited to an atheistic conference in Kerala. Sadly, people won't believe it, but that is the case. There may be people with some maybe semi-atheist, semi-secular or something like that. But even those people, if we invite those people, they won't find it, I think quite, the invitation may not be that digestible for them, because they think that it will ruin their fortunes in politics. So when we were about to send invitations for these so-called celebrities in politics, we didn't find anyone this time.
So that's a dire situation.
What we have is communalism and counter-communalism, and the political parties are supporting one side or other. That is what we see here.
Okay, so that makes sense. Or maybe we'll be able to see more rationalist or bloody atheistic politicians and celebrities in the coming years, maybe. Okay, so anyway, me coming from this same place and being a part of this essence as a resource person, I always feel proud of being in this community where we share common goals like humanism and fact-based politics and evidence-based medicine and all such things. And I wish more people be enlightened by all these new ideals or new principles of existence, which is required for the modern world. And events like Litmus will be an occasion for getting introduced into such things, and I wholeheartedly welcome everyone to that also. And thank you, Ravichandran C, for joining with us today for this first episode of the inaugural episode of this Hot Seat with AAI. And I hope we'll be coming up with more guests from now on, maybe at least once a month. That's what I hope I can do, because this is a bounden duty upon me to host this event. I wish
make it so hot, make it cool for others.
Yeah. Let's see. It depends upon the guest. If they are cool, everything will be cool. Anyway, thank you so much for joining with us.
Thank you very much, Arif. Thank you very much. It's nice talking to you.
Yeah, so now we will just wind up. We'll call it a day, and we'll move on to the audience, and I'll just leave a goodbye to them also. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so that was a day, and now I hope this was an interesting session. We came across a lot of subjects, especially in an Indian perspective, and something so close to my place where I come from, that is Kerala, which stands out as a place where this atheism, this ex-Muslim movements, and this non-religious movements, and these kind of atheistic conferences, that also happens only in this place, even in India. So that's one reason why we always call it as a place where all these things can happen in Kerala. And maybe we will join with you with another guest in the coming days. I'm not sure to announce the next speaker, but the announcements will be made in the coming days, and we will meet very soon. Thank you all. Thank you to all the viewers here, and let's wind it up here. Thank you so much. Good night.